What's up, y'all? One Piece One Life here, and guys, honestly, I feel like I'm just being too negative. No, genuinely, I feel like every non-chapter review video I've done in the past 4 weeks has only been about complaining or negative or hating. You know what? It's Christmas season. It's the time to be jolly and festive and happy. So let's switch that up, why don't we? And that's why I decided to do a really nice and wholesome video today. But you know, I couldn't just do a regular nice and wholesome video. I needed a character focus. And so I decided to make this video about a character that gets a surprising amount of hate in the One Piece community. So in today's video, I'm going to address the hate and instead just talk about why this character, in my opinion, is actually pretty decent, or at least has the potential to be. Because this video is going to be everyone's underestimating Chopper. But before we get into it, guys, please, real quick, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more One Piece content just like this every week, and share it around with all your friends who love the series. You know what we always say, let's get it going. Oh, and make sure you subscribe to me and my boys over at CSY. We just hit 2.2k. Now, to start off our analysis of Chopper, we just have to understand, I guess, where the hate is coming from. This, for me, was a really hard point to understand because I know Chopper wasn't anybody's favorite character by any stretch of the imagination, but to say that you hate Chopper, that kind of came out of left field for me. And one thing that I notice a lot is that it's being perpetrated by really other large YouTubers in the One Piece space. So a lot of the One Piece YouTube community seems to hate Chopper. I'm thinking especially of King of Lightning. His hatred for Chopper is known. And I mean, I haven't obviously scoured the entire internet for every single reason why Chopper is hated, but as far as I could find, the main reasons were as follows. One is that he's just a mascot, so he's just there to look cute and so that as merchandise, One Piece can sell and make money. Two, his dream doesn't really mean anything because we don't see people actually getting sick in the story. And three, even amongst the weakling trio, he has no fights. Where some people would cite even Nami and Usopp to have certain moments, the Chopper just doesn't seem to have that. But the first thing I really want to do to just, kind of bolster Chopper's image is let's compare him to other familiars in other series. Because genuinely, none of the other familiars in any other series, in my opinion, is touching Chopper, at least in terms of their contribution to the overall dynamic of the protagonist side. Because let's just think of some of the really popular examples real quick. We got Happy from Fairy Tail, and he's a great familiar, but he literally cannot fight. He doesn't add to the overall dynamic like that. Hawk from Seven Deadly Sins was given an interesting power, but still, how many times has that come in clutch? Keep in mind, I also just don't rate Seven Deadly Sins that high. Who would you even say the familiar for Naruto is? Gamakichi? Pakun? Might Guy's Tortoise? And see, yes, because they're all ninja-based animals, they can't fight, but then it's about how often are they used in the series? Which brings me to this point. Who remembers Cone from Bleach, the animatronic lion that has better appearances in the openings than in the actual show? Even Nero, the bird that was following Asa around in Black Clover, ended up actually being a person with a backstory. And see, this is the thing about familiars in a lot of anime. They tend to be boiled down to just comedic relief or, brief moments of levity. And sure, I'm not saying that none of them can ever have serious character writing, but out of all of the ones I just mentioned, you can't really compare that, you know what I'm saying? Which is why when you look at Chopper, some people do think of him as just a familiar, but because he's actually part of the crew and actually has, an integrated storyline, he surpasses all of the others I mentioned. I don't even think it's that controversial to say that Chopper is the best familiar in anime. Just think, other mascots really wish that they were Chopper. Let's talk about it. He got all these different forms, he has all this intriguing backstory, you know what I'm saying? Even just the character thought of having a blue-nosed reindeer to contrast Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. Oda was thinking. Really quick on the point about him being a mascot to make money, yes, this is true. And my question to that is, so what? At the end of the day, as much as people love all of these shows, you gotta remember, there are larger corporations at play with all of your favorite IP. So don't blame Chopper for capitalism. That's not how that works. But enough about that. Let's get into how people are actually underestimating Chopper by giving some Chopper feats. Because I feel like a lot of people tend to forget, Chopper has some decent feats throughout this story. The first one I really want to talk about is the fact that Chopper was standing alongside the monster trio when they were going to fight the Frankie family for Usopp. Now this was great for Chopper for multiple reasons. For one, by that point the monster trio had already been established, so to see Chopper going alongside people that we would expect to be the forefront fighters and not even be scared about it, that was just amazing to see. Obviously no one's saying Chopper's as strong as them, but the fact that Oda was portraying them in the same kind of, light during those chapters, That was great. And then you have the fact that, of course, it's for Usopp, somebody that Chopper is incredibly close to, as shown during their tag team fight in Alabasta. Further bolstered by the fact that Chopper was the one who wanted to give Usopp as much help as he needed even after Usopp left the crew, because Chopper still thought of him as friends. They're close. So already those few scenes has more character writing than the majority of familiars. But I get it, people want to see some actual fights with named characters, so let's get into some fights that he was involved with. Also, I'm not going sequentially in the story, we're just going to talk about the points that I have, starting with the fight with Hogback. Now, if people were to say that Chopper's importance diminished significantly over the time skip, I would definitely agree, because that's just true. To be fair, that's true of most Straw Hats. But to say that Chopper never had anything ever when this fight exists, that just doesn't make any sense to me. Because remember, the way that Oda writes is that he's telling a story through the fights, or character development is happening spurred on by the fight itself. And Chopper's character development in that short fight that was happening alongside Robin, albeit, was the fact that he was trying to understand what it actually meant to be a doctor. Especially because Hogback was somebody that he literally idolized, and he thought, wow, this is an amazing person, an amazing doctor, but you're using all your talents for evil? That's not what we're supposed to do. His ideology of what it means to be a doctor, founded by Hiruluk and his teachings, and Kureha and her teachings, that was literally being contested while that fight was happening. Next up, let's just talk about the culmination of Monster Point, because Monster Point brings up another huge plot point in his character, the whole idea of what it means to belong somewhere. Chopper never truly felt like he fit in with anybody. Besides the two people that he was really with on Drum, no one else accepted him until he met the Straw Hats. And now the thing about the Straw Hats, and that's why it's also interesting tying into the fact that Chopper was alongside the Monster Trio when they went to fight the Frankie family, is the fact that the Straw Hats themselves are in each of their own ways monsters, and because of that dynamic, that allowed Chopper to enter their fold and integrate almost seamlessly with the crew. Remember, one of Chopper's catchphrases from way back when was that he was always saying, I don't even care if I'm a monster as long as it's for Luffy or the crew's sake, which all culminated in Monster Point. When Chopper was being pushed to the very edge by Kumadori, he said, whatever it takes to win, I need to do this, because if not, the people I care about are going to die. Keep in mind, it's an interesting parallel to Luffy, who said the same kind of things about using gears. But in that instance, I may even argue that it's more powerful than Luffy, because Chopper literally couldn't control it. He knew that it was a very high risk, high reward tactic. Now let's just talk about some more pure feats, because those were fights that having to do with his character, but if we're talking pure feats, Chopper got some of those too. First of all, we're not gonna act like he wasn't fighting off Queen, or at least holding him off for a decent while during Onigashima. Whether you want to say that Queen was holding back, or he wasn't trying in the fight or whatever, you have to admit, Chopper was putting some paws on him. The first slap when he said, I'm not a Tanuki, what are we talking about? And then obviously it's gonna time out because of the Rumble Ball limit, but still, who was to say that we couldn't have seen Chopper do a bit more against Queen? Then we have the Chopper Phage Nebulizer. And look guys, I already know a lot of people don't like the whole Ice Oni virus plot device, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't either. I felt like it just took a lot of time in the arc. With that said though, this is countering one of the main critiques that Chopper haters say, which is that what has he ever done to actually solve anything problematic? He literally synthesized a counter to a damn near incurable virus in the midst of battle. It took him like what, 5 minutes? On to the next feat. Let's talk about how he was blocking Saturn on Egghead Island. As much as people want to say that Saturn is a bum, Saturn is horrible, yada yada yada, but yeah, you can't deny that that's something that he did. Chopper's guard point form was enough to stave off a whole tentacle. Chopper actually has some decent feats in guard point alone, because even when the Sunny was descending and they were about to crash into that rock, Chopper was one of the people that saved them when he went into his huge guard point form and literally cushioned the Sunny from crashing. Keep in mind, the Sunny is made from Adam Tree wood, and Frankie said it can tank explosions, but they were hurtling towards something that could easily have crushed the Sunny, and Chopper was able to easily block it. I feel like that has to say something. And please, let's not forget, probably one of his biggest feats, Monster Point versus Big Frickin' Mom. I don't care if Big Mom was emaciated and hungry and tired. That doesn't matter. It's still Big Mom. Chopper in his Monster Point was holding back Big Mom for, I don't know, I don't remember if it was a long time, but we can't act like he wasn't putting in work against her. No one is saying that Chopper is going to beat Big Mom. I wouldn't say that once in a million years, but to hold Big Mom off for what, 3, 4, 5 minutes? I would trust Chopper's monster point to do that. To be fair, maybe not the, full-powered Big Mom that we saw during Onigashima, but that emaciated Big Mom was still a threat. And now this leads into the future of Chopper, and here we're gonna really talk about him versus Doc Q. I already mentioned this in my video where I discussed the Straw Hats versus Blackbeard Pirates matchups, but I truly believe that Chopper's fight is more so gonna have to do with him having to literally on the spot create cures to Doc Q's various diseases. Just like with Dr. Hogback, there's a chance that in this battle Chopper will actually have another one of his ideologies mainly contested, especially because he's going against somebody as twisted as Doc Q, who I would argue is even worse than Dr. Hogback in terms of the things that he's probably doing to patients. So I do believe that that's a fight where we could genuinely see something good character writing wise for Chopper. And listen, if I'm wrong and Chopper doesn't end up getting another fight for the rest of the series, then I guess you'll be able to come back to this video and tell me I was wrong. People on the internet love to do that. Nah, but you know what? I've actually had enough of all this Chopper hate. I'm not even a Chopper fan like that, but I just find this ridiculous. So you know what we're doing? We're starting up Chopper Appreciation Day. Every year around this time, I'm going to try and do a video surrounding Chopper, at least tangentially. Just, to bring more supporters for the Chopper cause. Mark your calendars, guys. December 5th, 20 days before Chopper's birthday, 20 days before Christmas, is going to be Chopper Appreciation Day. I mean, fair enough, it doesn't mean that the video will always come out on December 5th because that just depends on scheduling, but first week of December, rest assured there will be a Chopper based video every year going forward, or until I run out of things to talk about Chopper. But y'all, now I want to hear what y'all have to say. Do you genuinely hate or not like Chopper? And if you do, was my video able to at least convince you that he's tough? Maybe you don't even like him character writing wise, but at least we can all admit that he has some decent feats, right? So let me know all your thoughts and more in the comments. So that's the end of the video, y'all. A bit on the shorter side, but before we go, like the video, subscribe to the page for more One Piece content just like this every week, and share it around with all your friends who love the series, or who love anime and manga in general. You know what my motto is here. I'm trying to build a community, but I need your help to do it. Well, that's gonna be all from me. I'll catch you on the next one, and always remember, One Piece, One Life. Now I already showed y'all that I can do the best Brook laugh on YouTube, but I wonder, can I do the best Dr. Hogback laugh? Fuss, 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 fuss. Fuss, 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 fuss. Fuss, 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 fuss. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm done. Putting my voice that high, it genuinely is putting strain on it. But who knows, maybe when it's time for live action Thriller Bark in 20 years, I'll be ready for the role.